Hello everybody, Blender 278 is out, so go ahead and get it. Particularly what's very great about this new version is the updated Boolean tool. So in the previous version of Blender we were able to just create a plane and a cube. Here let me rotate this a little bit and I will set this to wire. And now I would like to use the plane to trim the top part of the cube off. So we select the cube, go to Boolean Modifier, set this maybe to difference or intersect. Here now we have, this is new actually, Carve and BMesh. Carve is the old version. So for this demo I will select Carve and then I select the plane. Perfect. If I now switch this to difference, then I basically switch the direction of the operation. I could also in edit mode flip, for example, the normal. See now the normal actually faces to the downside, and then the result is changed as well. Okay, good. So now let's actually switch this to BMesh, and if we go into wire mode we see something happens. So it slices through the object but it doesn't really trim it off, and that's simply because BMesh and Carve have similar functions but they're not 100% the same. To simplify the use of BMesh, think about the way how we work with Fusion. When we want to cut something away, we do an extrusion, or we take an object, place it into the volume of another object, and then do a combine command. So we have to work with solid. So I will select this one face, extrude it, make sure all these faces look to the outside. And now you see I can use the volume of this cube to cut it out of the volume of this cube. The tool ideally now for the rest of the semester should always be a volume, while the body we cut something from does not necessarily have to be a closed object or a solid. So you see it can be open, so that works. So what happens if we scale this one down? There we see the result. Okay. So what happens now if, for example, we give this object a thickness? So here maybe 4 centimeters, so you can see it. And then there you see it actually, in this case, then really slices through it. Because, well, we give the surface a thickness and then we cut through. Fusion would do exactly the same. And in case it is solid, even while this lower face is open, then it patches in the other faces. So this is actually pretty nice, the way how it works. So that's basically part one, what I wanted to show you. So the way how BMesh now works is basically, for the cutting tool, always try to have a solid volume. The second, and that's the most impressive one, is the speed. So let me go ahead and add a subdivision surface modifier. Let me move this one up and we set this to 6, and maybe let's move this one down. And you see, even with the subdivision of 6, this runs pretty fluid. If I set now the solver to Carve, the result looks the same more or less, but if I try now to move it, you see this really turns into stop motion. And this currently is a very simple object. It's just a cube with a high subdivision tessellation. If you have a more complex design, then you really want those Boolean operations to perform a lot faster, which is why then instead of carve, you want to select BMesh. So I can go into edit mode, leave edit mode, and the calculation is done instantly. So that's the really impressive part about it. Thanks to the developers, BMesh really rocks. Here's, for example, one of the designs I'm working on for a client right now. So this is actually kind of like a computer head and a little bit of brain tissue, and there's a device that we're working on that goes into the brain, which I can't show right now because it's under development. But you see the face is actually very dense. It has a lot of polygons. For example, I use a view level of 3. So when I leave the edit mode, it takes a quick second and dang, there's the cuts. Really nice. If I set this even to 2, edit mode, object mode, you see the wait time is a fraction. So even when you work with very dense meshes and you have to do cut sections or something, the solver for BMesh in those areas works incredibly fast, which I think is probably not the best case why you actually want to work with it. And I assume that sooner or later the carve Boolean solver probably will be phased out, and just then you will only have BMesh as the solver you could use.